First of all, a very good afternoon to every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mata Fair 2023 Malaysia. I'm your MC today. My name is Isheng. I'm very excited to be here with you in this launching event. Now, this is the first international cruise ship to be home port in Malaysia. Now, as we know, the pandemic has already devastating impact on the tourism industry, especially the cruise industry. Now, as we know, cruise ships were forced to suspend operation for many months. Not just happened in Malaysia, but globally, and many businesses in the tourism industry were forced to close also, right? But the good news is the tourism industry is recovering right now, and of course, with the relaxed travel restriction from the government, and the cruise are now starting to operate again. Now, before we start the launching event, ladies and gentlemen, first I would like a warm welcome to YB Anthony Loke, the Minister of Transport Malaysia. Your presence signifies the importance of the tourism industry for our nation's growth. Now, we also like to welcome to Mr. Kenny Cheong Ken Lee, the CEO of Huajing Travel and Tours in Berhad. Your visionary leadership brings us together to celebrate the wonders of the tourism industry. Now, so up next, this is my honor to invite Mr. Kenny Cheong Ken Lee, the CEO of Huajing Travel and Tours, Sdn Berhad, to deliver his opening speech. Ladies and gentlemen, let us warmly welcome Mr. Kenny. Mr. Kenny, please.
YB Anthony Loke, Minister of Transport Malaysia. Nigel Wong, our President of MATA, welcome. And our friend from media, friend from travel industry, welcome to this inaugural our first ship for international cruise ship that home porting in Malaysia. Okay, Huajing Travel, actually we are involving in cruise industry more than 30 years. This year we celebrate our 34th year of anniversary. We get a good response from our partner from Italy. Is that Costa Cruises that give us an opportunity to charter a ship, Costa Serena. For your information, before pandemic, if we want to charter a ship in Southeast Asia, I think I asked for more than 5 years, I cannot get a ship because all the cruise ship is positioning in North Asia, China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Okay, but this time, because of pandemic, just reopened, we have the opportunity to talk to our partner, and we managed to convince them to start the Southeast Asia sailing, start from Malaysia. For information, for home porting program, never appear in any international cruise line before the pandemic. Now this is our lucky to get the ship in Malaysia. And Costa Serena, we're going to start 3 sailing in January. Start from 17th of January. We're trying out 3-day, 2-night domestic from Auckland to Penang and come back to Auckland. Then 19, we're going on 4-day, 3-night, going to Phuket and come back, another trip to Phuket. So we just a pilot project for 3 sailing. So this program, I hope we can success and make our Malaysia potential become a home port country in coming future. Okay? because now from the history, you can see Malaysia actually is the most ideal home port country, okay? But now we are far behind with compared with our Singapore, our neighbor. So I hope this program starting, we can catch up. At least we can do something, start from somewhere, and I hope Malaysia can be the new home port city in South Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kenny Chong, the CEO of Huajing Travel and Tours Sdn Bhd, for your inspiring opening speech. And ladies and gentlemen, next again is my honor, and please join me in welcoming the Minister of Transport Malaysia, YB Anthony Loke, for his speech.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizing committee of Mata Fair for inviting me and having me here, and also thank you to Huajing Travel and Tours Sdn Bhd for inviting me to launch their pilot program for having a dedicated cruise from Malaysia towards Phuket. Costa Serena cruise ship, a flagship offering from Europe's largest cruise company, Costa Cruises, is initiating a pilot program to make Port Klang in Malaysia its new home port, and this venture is supported by Huajing Travel and Tours Sdn Bhd. Costa Cruises has chosen Malaysia as a strategic location for expanding into the Southeast Asian market. Historically, as mentioned, cruise ship docking in Malaysia primarily embark from foreign ports and rarely set up permanent home ports due to various challenges, including the distance to capital, policy issues, and port taxes. And just for the information of friends from media, there's two concepts of cruising. Generally, we know there are two types of ports. One is port of calls. Port of calls, it means that the cruise ship call on the ports. They are originated from other ports, but it's just a primary destination or secondary destination where they just call on the port, they stay there for a few hours, and the ship will go off. There will be no embarkation or disembarkation of passengers from that particular port. So it's just a port of calls. So they come to that particular destination. For example, most of the cruises are home porting in Singapore. They will call on Penang, or they will call on Langkawi, or they will call on Port Klang. So typically when they call on those ports, they will just spend a few hours there. Typically 8 to 10 hours. They will dock in the morning and they will leave that port probably at 6 or 8 p.m. on the same day. So of course, port of calls are important as well, because that brings a lot of tourists to that particular destination. But in terms of the spending for port of calls, of course, in any studies shown by travel sector, port of calls in terms of spending per passenger is much lower than a home port. Why is it so? Because when home port, the passengers have to go to that place to embark on that ship, for embark on that package. For example, if they are flying in from another country, probably they have to fly to that particular city one day before, or one day after they disembark, they will stay in that particular city or spend another few days in that particular city. So in terms of expenditure, spending per passenger in a home port is at least 3 times higher than a port of call. So it is our vision in Malaysia to attract cruise liners to make Malaysia as a home port as well. So over the years, we have lost out in this aspect. Most of our ports are actually just port of calls. There are no home porting in Malaysia. The previous one where we have a local Malaysian brand, Star Cruise, which was home port in Penang, even that has ended. So right now, in any of our ports, there are no home port for any particular cruise liners. So basically, are just port of calls. We have many good cruise terminal, which is very, very ideal for cruising. In particularly for Port Klang, Port Klang because very near to Klang Valley. It is near to International Airport, KLIA. And of course, the other one, which is our crown jewel in terms of cruise terminal, in terms of cruise tourism, is Penang. Penang, because the Swettenham Pier Cruise Terminal is located at the heart of Georgetown. It's just walking distance to the heritage zone. So it is a very ideal port for cruising for Penang. And Penang Swettenham Pier Cruise Terminal has been expanded. And right now, even the largest cruise vessel can dock in Penang at any one point of time. Besides Port Klang and Penang, of course, we have Langkawi. Langkawi, there is another important cruise destination, and we have a cruise terminal there, run by resorts. And then right now, there are other states which are also embarking on development of cruise terminal. And one particular project is ongoing, which has been revived, is the Malacca Gateway. So Malacca Gateway will be another important cruise terminal in Malacca. So in other words, we have many facilities along our coastal line, prepared and ready to be both port of calls and also home port. And of course, in terms of prominence, you will definitely Port Klang and Penang, which are already ready right now. And both ports, the important aspect of becoming a home port is that it must be nearby to an international airport. And both this Port Klang and Penang Swettenham Pier Cruise Terminal have these advantages, where both have linkage to the international airport. Why? Because we need to bring in foreign tourists to come to that particular destination to embark on their cruise tourism journey. So before and after their journey, hopefully they will spend more time and spend more money in those places. So that's why I'm involved in this particular press conference today. I'm sure many of you would ask, this is nothing to do with my portfolio. It is more about tourism, but the enabler for tourism is always transport. So transport is the enabler for tourism. That's why I'm here to support this initiative, and hopefully that we can play a role. Of course, that is related to Ministry of Transport, to do our interest, because all the port authorities and port operators are looking forward to have cruise liners based in their particular terminal, in particularly Port Klang and also Penang. Both are very, very promising terminals, and the port operators are fully supportive of having any cruise liners to home port in their respective terminals. Ministry of Transport will fully support in terms of this initiative, and because we look at it as not only increasing in terms of port movement, not only increasing in terms of cruise movement, but also bringing in more passengers, more tourists, and more dollars into our country, into our economy. So with that, of course, we hope that this venture, which will begin on 17th of January next year, for a 3-day, 2-night route from Port Klang to Penang, and a 4-day, 3-night route from Port Klang to Penang and Phuket by Costa Serena, which is of course with a very strong Italian cultural and heritage team, with a capacity of 3,780 passengers, and this will definitely be an attractive destination for not only Malaysian tourists but also for foreign tourists. And our strategy is of course to make Malaysia as a home port, and we want to attract not only local tourists but more importantly as a hub for the regional tourists, in particularly Indonesian, Thailand, and even as far as India. India is a very good important market. A lot of Indians love to go for cruising, and they will fly to Malaysia to take up the cruise. So this was a major market for Star Cruise before. So we hope that of course it will continue, and we welcome not only Costa. I want to make it a point that no particular preference for any particular company, not only for Huajing, any travel agencies we welcome to take part, to work with the international cruise liners, and hopefully more international cruise liners can come to Malaysia to make our ports as their home port. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, YB Anthony Loke, for sharing your valuable thoughts and ideas with us today. And next, this is the most important moment in this launching event.
Before launching, open up for questions first.
For okay, right now.
Any questions?
Yep.
Ada soalan? Yeah.
Vice Minister, what incentive would you provide to new agents to promote the cruise form?
Well, they have not given us any requests. We'll see what we can facilitate. As I mentioned, this is a pilot project. They are pilot projects chartered by Huajing Travel and Tours. So in terms of facilities, in terms of incentive, of course, they are looking for tax breaks and all that. But of course, some of those incentives cannot be given by me or by Minister of Transport, rather by Minister of Finance. So of course, we will try to work together and understand their challenges and understand what they need from the government. In terms of facilitation and incentive, for example, port operations is very important. We give them incentive in terms of making it easy for them, in terms of their timing, in terms of what they need in the terminal, any facilities that they need. Of course, we can facilitate, and those are the things that we can help in terms of encouraging more cruise liners to dock in Malaysia as a home port. And in terms of other financial incentive or any tax incentive, that of course they can propose, and we will try to refer it to the Ministry of Finance.
Minister, I would imagine infrastructure would be under your purview, more
Yep.
under your purview rather than incentives. But I was just curious as well, with this being the first international cruise ship to home port in Malaysia, what do you envision for, say, Sabah and Sarawak, where they've got, it's very strategic, I would imagine.
Yes, of course, we are hoping that we also can attract cruise liners to make Sabah and Sarawak as their home port. But we have to understand, number one, to make a port to be a home port, firstly, you must have good international air connectivity. So in Malaysia, like it or not, our best location is still in Port Klang because it's near to KLIA. Any part of the world, you can fly in, especially in our region. You have a lot of connectivity flying into KL, especially KLIA 1 and KLIA 2. So that is a prerequisite in terms of making a place to be attractive to be a home port, because you need international passengers to fit into the ship. Every ship calls, we are talking about a few thousand passengers. To fill up one particular ship, you're talking about 3,000 to 5,000 people. So 3,000 to 5,000 people, if you just depends on local market, is not attractive. You must have international travelers coming in. And that is the vision of the government, in hoping that to make cruise, to attract more foreign visitors to come to Malaysia. Because this is an additional package that they can cruise from Malaysia. So in order to answer your question, is number one, we try to encourage calls to Sabah and Sarawak. And indeed, they are cruise calls to Sabah and Sarawak, mainly from Singapore. Those cruise originated from Singapore. But the Asian market is very, very different from European market. European market, people cruised for 2 weeks as shortest, or even months. They can spend 30 days on a cruise. But Asians and most Asian travelers will not spend more than a week on a cruise. Okay? Most Malaysians will only spend 3 days or 4 days on a cruise. So in terms of the distance and the destination, you must be within that range, 3 to 4 days. Okay? 3 to 4 days from Port Klang to Phuket, okay, come back, it's just nice, 3 to 4 days. But let's say from Port Klang to Sabah, come back, probably you will take up to a week. Or usually, I mean, cruise, they don't operate just one destination. They will usually go to 2 or 3 destinations. So in that sense, of course, it is still challenging in terms of the market. But we hope that to encourage cruise liners to first call on Sabah and Sarawak, okay, before talking about even home porting. But home port, I think Port Klang is more than ready. Penang is more than ready.
I have a quick question for Mr. Cheong, if you don't mind. So with this pilot project, what do you envision going forward once you see that this is successful? Will you be negotiating with other cruise companies?
still looking at talking to Costa for the 24 October onward, the winter season, and we have also talked to other cruise line. So maybe come in for 2 or 3 selling. Okay. So hopefully the 25 can do better.
Okay. Okay, ada lagi? Amina belum lagi. Data itu masih dianalisa. Seperti yang saya telah janjikan, laporan awal akan dikemukakan 30 hari selepas insiden. Maka saya mencangkakan laporan awal akan dapat kita keluarkan pada minggu kedua bulan September. Yes. Tak apalah, itu kita akan jawab dalam platform politik nanti. Hari ini platform pelancongan, kita fokus kepada isu pelancongan dan pengangkutan. Saya akan dijawab dalam platform yang lain.
You mentioned earlier that transport is the basis for the tourism industry. Are you concerned about the issues regarding the China standard light affecting the tourism industry or even the transport industry?
As far as that we are concerned, first of all, we subscribe to freedom of navigation. That's under international UNCLOS. We have freedom of navigation, and of course, our position, together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the official stance and position of our government, is that we do not recognize the new map of China, and we have signed our protest note, and we will definitely subscribe to that position.
Mr. Chong, what makes you take up this challenge to charter the ship to run this cruise in this region?
Very good question. A lot of people talking about this, saying that Huajing is crazy. In fact, because of pandemic, Costa Cruises already cancelled 3 years program, continuous. So in Huajing record, we have a group of passenger or Costa lover that actually book with us but unable to departure or go on board due to pandemic, okay, and or the suspension of the itinerary. But at the moment we are saying that we are going to refund to them. The customer said, never mind, we keep the money with you until you have a product, then they will make the booking immediately. So that group of people make me feel excited and talk to a cruise line and make a charter ship in Malaysia. And the response really fantastic. In within 50 days, 40% of the cabin sold out. Okay, then really is a good response. Even that one is a super low season in January, 1 week before Chinese New Year. It's traditional low season, but the selling very well. Thank you.
Okay, ada lagi?
Thank you. Thank you for all the questions.
Sorry.
Is there a special allocation that you'll be setting aside to improve the conditions of the ports also coming from the Ministry?
Okay, no special allocation from the ministry because all the investment in terms of infrastructure are undertaken by the respective port operators. For Penang, of course, it's under the concessionaire, Penang Ports and Berhad, which they have invested more than 150 million ringgit to expand the port, the wharf. So it was actually done in 2019. So it was completed during the pandemic. And right now, Penang Swettenham Pier Cruise Terminal can host at any one time 2 largest vessels. If two large vessels coming in, they can both berth together in Penang Port. So the entire capex was undertaken by Penang Ports and Berhad. As far as Malacca Gateway is concerned, Malacca Gateway, of course, are going for revival right now. They are in the midst of reapplying their operating license from Ministry of Transport. We are facilitating that. We are supportive of reviving the cruise terminal in Malacca Gateway, because we think that the most feasible project for Malacca Gateway is a cruise terminal, and that will support the Malacca tourism sector. And in fact, last Friday, I met with the Chief Minister of Malacca, Dr. Sri Rauf, and state government is also supportive of Malacca Gateway, and we will facilitate, and we will hopefully can revive that operating license for Malacca Gateway to become an international cruise terminal as soon as possible, because their work will be still some ongoing work, and some construction needs to be completed. So once the construction are completed, then Malacca is another destination for international cruise.
Thank you. One last question. Thank you.
When you are talking about the cruise terminal and all this, and as you say that you need to have an international airport, do you foresee that the Malacca airport will be upgraded?
Malacca airport right now is underutilized. Of course, the state government also has some proposals on how to revive the Malacca airport. They are talking to certain investors. Of course, we are open to proposals. As of now, no concrete decision yet, but we will come back to that. Okay.
Thank you very much. Now, next we have a very important moment. Can you please bring our symbolic Costa Serena symbol over here for launching this voyage? Later on, my count of 3, 2, 1. Okay, ready? Okay, my count of 3, 2, 1. Congratulations! This launching symbolizes a major breakthrough for our tourism industry, signifying a remarkable milestone in its growth and development. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a special souvenir as a token of appreciation for YB Anthony as well for launching this memorable event.
OK， 看这里一张，这里，哎，这里一张哦。YB 看这里，OK。Alright.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all your joining us here today at the conclusion of Mata Fair 2023 Costa Serena launching event. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished guests who has graced the occasion.